Hi, it's Yui here, and I'm in a state of panic and worry. Have you ever booked a trip and realized that maybe you don't really know much about the place you're going to? Honestly, I'm kind of going through that right now, and I feel like these things could maybe help you on your next adventure, so let's chat about it. So, my trip to Peru is coming up, and I'm going to share with you some of the things that I wish I had researched before booking this trip, and some of the things I've done to try and stay calm during this preparation process. If you are booking your next adventure, I'll be talking about some things that I think could help you for your next trip, regardless of your destination. So the first thing that I wish I had researched before booking this trip is the climate and the bugs. So let's talk about climate first. I looked up the weather to see if, it's gonna rain or if it's a good season to see Machu Picchu, but I didn't realize how cold it gets at night. And I think in the afternoons, if the sun's shining, it's quite warm, but you really have to pack those layers. So a lot of the clothes that I was gonna bring, more summery clothes to be honest, is out the window. I'm probably gonna bring a lot of Uniqlo heat tech that I can layer to keep myself warm because I don't have room in my luggage for a big puffy jacket. I'm also trying to figure out what kind of shoes to bring because I want to wear my sneakers on the plane. I was gonna bring a pair of flats or just something cute that I could maybe wear with a dress in my carry-on, but that might be too cold at night. So now I'm thinking, do I need to bring boots or do I have to wear the boots on the plane? I have a lot going through my mind. I think shoes are the hardest thing to pack, so still trying to figure that out. And the bugs. So I knew going in, we're gonna be around a lot of nature. There is bound to be mosquitoes and bugs. But I didn't realize that I could potentially catch dengue fever. So I talked to the doctor about this. He said that vaccines are not a requirement going into Peru, but if you get bitten by a mosquito and you do get dengue fever, you don't actually show symptoms till about 2 weeks after. And my trip is about 10 days. So if, knock on wood, hopefully this doesn't happen, but if someone gets bitten by a mosquito with dengue fever and you catch that, then you will see symptoms 2 weeks later. So for me, it would be after I get back to Japan. But he didn't seem too worried about it. He just said, hey, if you come back and it's been about 2 weeks and you start feeling really sick or you have high fevers, go to the doctor immediately. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. But it's like an extra worry that I didn't think I'd have to worry about. I wish I had known about it because then I might have just gotten the vaccine, but too late now. So what I'm doing about the whole bug situation to prepare for my trip is my friend and I talked, we're gonna buy bug spray once we land in Peru. We were thinking of bringing the ones from Japan, but usually I feel like bug sprays and just things in general are made to combat the things in that country. So we'd rather get bug spray made for the mosquitoes in Peru. So we're gonna buy it in Peru. We'll see how that goes. The second thing that I wish I had researched that I had never thought to look up is the elevation. Yeah, I did not think about this at all when I was researching Machu Picchu. So the city of Cusco, which is the city we're flying into first, has about the same elevation as Mount Fuji. And I've never climbed Mount Fuji. It's 3,400 meters or 11,000 feet in elevation. I can't even wrap my mind around that. So because of its high elevation, the altitude sickness is real. And generally most people are fine if you go from low to high, slowly allowing your body to acclimate to each elevation. But the problem with our trip is that we are flying directly from Lima to Cusco immediately, and that is one of the most dangerous ways to actually go to a high elevation is to take an airplane. So obviously the plane is pressurized and your body has no time to get used to the high elevation. You're just kind of thrown into it when you get off the plane. So altitude sickness can give you symptoms like a really fast beating heart, shortness of breath, headaches, nausea, sleep deprivation, and I believe the list goes on. I don't think I've ever visited a place where I had to worry about this, so this was not anything I thought about looking into. But now that I know and our entire itinerary is already made up and there's nothing I can do to change it at this point, this is what I'm doing to prepare. The first thing I did was find a clinic that specialized in travel and vaccines. And they gave me these pills. They're called Diamox, and they're famous for altitude sickness. And I also have very, very generic painkillers. They'll give you this medicine if you're ever sick in any way. They will always give you this, and an anti-nausea medication. It came as a little set. So this will be my travel buddy. The doctor did warn me though, these Diamox pills work best when you're ascending slowly. It helps your body acclimate faster, but it's not a magic pill. So if you're flying into somewhere as high as Cusco, there's no guarantee, but who knows, maybe the placebo effect will work on me. I talked to my regular doctor about this as well because, as many of you know, I get migraines and it can be really, really tough on my body. And I wanted to make sure that the medication that I'm currently taking can be taken with the pills that I got for the altitude sickness. And I don't know, I talked to both doctors about my migraines and they didn't really seem to have an issue with me going. So I don't think that maybe migraines are directly linked to having worse altitude sickness or anything, so I have my fingers crossed that I'll be okay. And I've done a lot of research on how to recover from altitude sickness if me or my friend gets it badly. So the first thing to do is to stay warm. So again, layers, heat tech, whatever I need to do. Inside or outside the hotel, I'm going to try and stay warm. The second thing is to stay hydrated. Hydration is so important. And there's this tea called the coca tea that they drink regularly over there. And it's made from the leaves used to make cocaine, but it's not cocaine. And it's a very common drink that helps with the altitude. And apparently a lot of the hotels give out this complimentary tea. So hopefully we'll get to try it. And I have also read that you can ask for oxygen. A lot of hotels and airports have supplies of oxygen because so many people need them when they first arrive in Cusco. So I know that I could always ask for one if I feel like I'm in need of that. The third thing I wish I knew before booking this trip is that flights to other tourist destinations might be expensive. So when my friend and I started brainstorming this whole trip, we thought, hey, why don't we also go to the Uyuni salt flats in Bolivia because they are neighboring countries and it would be a lot closer for us to go from Peru to Bolivia rather than go back to Japan and then fly back to Bolivia at some point in our lives. So we thought this was a great idea, and I know a lot of travel vloggers and a lot of tourists do this, or they can get a travel package that kind of includes all of it. Little did we know, it's about $300 for a round trip flight from Peru to Bolivia. And if you want a direct flight, you have to pay over $400. Which makes sense because you're crossing borders, but it can really affect your budget at that point. And we also looked into buses. There's a bus called Bolivia Hop where you can go from Peru to Bolivia on a bus. I think it takes like 24 hours, maybe more. But we're like, a bus trip sounds fun, but, we don't really know the area. We don't speak the language, and crossing a border by bus was a little bit too adventurous for us for this particular trip, so we opted out. So the other reason I'm kind of glad we decided not to go to the Uyuni Flats is that the La Paz International Airport is at an elevation of 4,000 meters or 13,000 feet. It's even higher than Cusco, which I'm already worried about. So yeah, maybe this is an adventure for the next trip. The fourth thing that I wish I'd researched a little bit more is safety. So from the research I've done so far on Peru, the main tourist areas don't seem super dangerous or anything like that, but you do have to worry about pickpocketing. I think this goes for honestly most countries. Whenever I travel, I'm very careful with my bag. I know in Japan, people leave their bags on coffee tables and then they walk off and go buy a coffee and they leave their phones and, all of this stuff. But I'm very aware that the rest of the world is not like that. So I will be using my common sense, and I got myself this Pack Safe bag. Isn't that such a cute name? Pack Safe. So as you can see, it's brand new. It's just, it's like a sling that you can put on like this. All of my cards, all my documents, passport, everything important to me that I can't go home without. I like to carry everything at the front. It's just safer that way. However, if I do decide to wear this on my back, it doesn't really matter because this whole thing is cut proof, so you can't cut it with a knife. These are wire enforced straps, so you can't cut through this either. You can lock the zippers on your bag so people can't just come and open it. And inside there's a pocket that is RFID blocking for my passports and my credit cards. It's pretty amazing. And it's so compact, I can use it for my travels going forward regardless of where I'm going. So I'm really excited to try this out. And on the topic of safety, it's also really important to figure out what you're gonna eat and what you're not gonna eat. When I travel, I usually only drink bottled water just to be safe, and I'm gonna try and steer away from any raw foods. But just in case, I will be bringing some stomach pain medication. And the fifth thing that I am doing before my trip to prepare is body conditioning. So I have a lot of high elevations and a lot of sleep deprivation coming up. So what I've been doing is I've been doing yoga and strength training all at my own pace, all at home. I don't really like going to the gym. I like to work out from the comfort of my own living room. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to condition and stretch my body while I can. Now I have been working out at my own pace because, I don't want to overdo it and be hurt or sore for the actual flight. This has really calmed my nerves in terms of the really, really long travel time. I've never traveled this long in one go before, and it's also helped me relax, and it's also given me a chance to focus on my breathing. Breathing is going to be key when I am at high elevations because my body is going to be lacking oxygen, so I really need to focus on taking as many deep breaths as I can. And exercise helps me be mindful of that and to remind myself to take deep breaths every day anytime that I notice that, I'm taking really shallow breaths, which is often. So those are the things that I wish I'd known and the things I'm trying to do to prepare for my trip. I hope you got some helpful insight of things that you can maybe do or look into before you book your next trip, wherever you may be going. But I hope you're traveling safe. I hope you are checking things off of your bucket list because it is late August, which means we only have 4 months left of the year, which is crazy. But that's more than enough time to get started on things or to check something off that you've been meaning to do. So I hope you're doing that. I hope you're having a great day or night wherever you're watching this from. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!